I'm Dr. Mark Abramson, and I'm a dentist whose professional life has been treating TMJ, oral facial pain patients, for the last 35 years. About 18 years ago, I got involved with developing a mindfulness-based stress reduction clinic at Stanford University Medical Center, and I've been teaching there since then. And part of the work that connected me with you was your work with stress reduction and for the soldiers, so I'm very happy to be here.
Comment on a letter that you wrote in 2009 regarding your opinion of the Temple Massager potentially helping service members calm down after combat patrols. And you had mentioned a hormonal switch.
Right. So when someone's in a situation like that, that they're under incredible stress that I personally can't even imagine, that their whole nervous system is going to be circulating powerful stress hormones that have very deep impacts on their body, both short-term and long-term. And what I talked about was the importance of, after an incident like that or day work, is for them to be able to calm down their nervous system and restore themselves. And I felt that the Temple Massager was a great tool for that, and I mentioned that in the letter.
You spoke and wrote of the potential for this device to be utilized in helping somebody recognize that they need to, calm down, and that the mechanical means of it could help them calm down. You wrote your opinion in 2009, and then in 2010, a letter was brought to my attention from combat engineers, the 235th Engineer Battalion out of Petaluma, California, who used the device while in combat in Afghanistan for a year's tour. And they actually use some of your language, and you have no contact with these people whatsoever. And they have no contact with you whatsoever. But yet you foretold what actually came to be through the letter that I received. And I'm just wondering how you feel about that. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I'm glad it was used, and I'm glad that it was beneficial, and that that's what's really important. So I think that the work that you've done to create this and to get this to the soldiers is I think the harder part. Then I'm glad that I was insightful enough for the letter, but I appreciate what you did to get this to the soldiers.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
With my work of treating for so many years people with headaches, neck pain, craniofacial problems, realized that the temple area is a very sensitive area and a very important area to relax. So the first thing I noticed was that this, in effect, got the whole side of the face, but particularly you can get into the temporal area. And at the same time, instead of your shoulders being oriented up or down, that you can be in a relaxed state in your shoulders and yet get the same benefit throughout the sides of your face and into your temples. And it's a nice mechanical leverage that you have there to not be engaged and to be relaxed. One of the things that's the advantage of the Temple Massager is your whole head can be aligned in a natural, comfortable way. And at the same time, your upper body can be aligned in a natural, comfortable way. And so your movement to stimulate everything and to bring yourself into relaxation, which it takes both mental focus and physical focus, is that you have the ability to be physically relaxed as you're tuning in to do the mental work that you want to do to relax the muscles.
And then that can invoke the hormonal change.
Yes.
And lead to calming.
So you have the areas that you want to stimulate, which starting off in the temporal area of the head, where the temporalis muscle sits. You can have this stimulating and relaxing and contacting there at the same time. Instead of your shoulders being up, as if you were doing it yourself, now you have them relaxed and not engaged. So your whole upper body is basically relaxing all at the same time. And that's a great advantage to be able to do that.
A tool of efficiency.
A tool of efficiency. Well, if we look at the nervous system, uh, when we eat food, 25% of the food we eat, the energy of that is to feed our brain. So our brain is the most expensive real estate in our body. And if we look at the brain has certain areas that are dedicated to sensory and motor innervation, and 38% of that goes to the head and to the jaw. So this is the most sensitive part of the brain. So as you have these muscles, all the muscles of the head are there to move the jaw. So they're all engaged in jaw movement, jaw clenching, speaking function. And so as we try to get these muscles to relax, we're relaxing very central and critical areas all at once. And so these muscles are very important and very sensitive, and also very involved with the stress reaction that builds up. Any normal human being in a stressful situation is going to release hormones, and it's going to have a physical reaction and a mental reaction. And I don't just differentiate between the physical and mental. I think the mind and the body are one system that work together. And you can have a thought right now, and that thought can be stressful, and you can have a tremendous release of physical hormones in your body that cause a surge in your blood pressure, increase your heart rate, increase your breathing, and actually shut down your immune system to some point. So it's a detrimental physical reaction. These stress hormones, particularly cortisol, which is one of the main stress hormones, is actually toxic to the important part of the brain called the hippocampus. And that is the part of the brain that actually shuts down the stress reaction. So as we get stimulated, our ability to calm down and to reset ourselves gets limited by the toxic effect of these chemicals. So it becomes a vicious cycle in that when we're stressed out, or we get stressed over and over again, we get better at releasing the stress hormones. You know, it becomes kind of the perpetual state that we live in. If we were walking around in a dangerous place where there were snakes all the time and we had to be at alert, ready to jump away from a snake, we would be ready to jump, which means that we would be in a stress state. And as we got doing that more and more, it just become kind of the baseline default setting that we walk around in. And what we need to do in our lives is to relearn how to settle down, to relearn how to create our natural state, which is to be relaxed. And so what we have the opportunity here with this tool is to help us learn to reset ourselves, to calm down, and to get out of that stressful reaction. And as we do it more and more, that also builds now a positive cycle. So as we get excited about something, in a way we get scared about something, something in our lives can be, you know, just the stress of thinking about a family member being sick or a dog or whatever it is, that as we recognize, first of all, that we become stressed out, and then we choose to relax ourselves, that it's just like any muscle that we use, we can become stronger and stronger with that. So the ability to settle down is something that through practice can be something that we become better at, and that's what this is a tool for, is to help us learn to settle down.
Because sometimes it's hard to just tell yourself to calm down, even though you may know it.
Right.
It may not be the easiest thing to do.
Right. As a matter of fact, telling yourself to not feel, that gets us into the mindfulness issue, is that what we teach in mindfulness-based stress reduction is in some ways might seem on the surface counterintuitive. We teach people to be actually more sensitive to their feelings, to be more open to their feelings, to turn towards their feelings. So if I were to get stressed out right now, if a noise scared me and I jumped, and I also released the chemicals, my heart started speeding up, my breathing, I'm getting ready to, do I run or do I fight this particular noise that scared me? As we recognize that, with mindfulness, we actually turn towards those feelings and feel our heart rate and feel what's going on in our body, feel the stress reaction. And that allows us to choose to respond to it in a positive way, to say, okay, now slow down my breathing, breathe into my belly, allow myself to start to settle down. So in mindfulness, we actually train ourselves to turn towards our feelings, to feel it more with even greater sensitivity, but without the reactivity. So it's, we define this mindfulness as non-judgmental awareness. And so we allow ourselves to feel the sensations in our body, the heart beating, the breathing, the sense of the stress hormones going through the body, which we can actually feel. And we use that as information to tell us that it's time to settle down, that there's really no emergency here, and that we start using techniques such as breathing into the belly, and stay with the feelings, and we watch ourselves settle down. One of the things about the stress reaction is it takes a split second, literally, to get into a stress reaction, but it actually takes longer to get out of it. So particularly if we've been in a stress reaction for a long time, let's say for a soldier out in the field, he's been in a stress reaction, a stressful situation all day long. So if you're a soldier out in the field where you're in an unbelievable stress situation, you have to be completely alert, you have to have the ability to immediately respond to something. You don't know what's going to happen around the corner. And you're in this all day, and then you come back from patrol, and you have to, at that point, choose to settle down, that this is where the opportunity is to recover from that, so you don't have to carry it into the evening, you don't have to sleep in that state. You can get up the next morning much more refreshed and ready to go. Plus, you're training yourselves to literally come down from that state, you know, and as you do more and more practice of that training, you actually become better at it. So this is where you see certain people who have the ability to handle stress, and yet they kind of maintain this stability of mind and body. And that's what we want to build towards, is ability to be more stable, and to, of course, any normal human being is going to get reactive, particularly if you're in the military and in a combat situation, that you're going to get stressed out. I don't think that can be prevented, but what you do with that and how you carry that into your life is critical. And this is what we want to build on. And this is a very important tool, I think, for the use in combat to be able to do that.
So as far as you being experienced with other means and modalities of potential stress relief, recognition, are there any other devices that you've seen that focus on the facial musculature? Yeah. Specifically referring to its ability of stimulating those muscles to create or invoke.
Right.
That
like I said, this is my field. I mean, this is what I work with. These muscles are what I treat all the time. And I haven't seen anything like this. I mean, we have instruments that are much more expensive, much more complicated, that do ultrasound and do all kinds of different muscle therapies, TENS therapy, things like that. But this is the only thing that I've seen that is, does a direct massage, does it simply and effectively.
And so the temple massager, you would say, you're comfortable in saying the temple massager is definitely a unique device for providing that potential stress relief.
Yes, I do. Well, the temple massager is a unique instrument or tool for massaging the sensitive muscles in the head area, and to keep the rest of the body relaxed as you're doing this, and to also offer you a time in your life to direct your mind towards these muscles and to use the amazing qualities of your brain to heal and to soothe. And that's what we want, is to bring all this together for the opportunity for creating a deep, what Herb Benson at Harvard calls relaxation response. And that's what we want. That's what this tool does, is creates a very powerful, effective relaxation response. Very effective at doing that.
What techniques, mindfulness speaking, would you want to go through anymore that you feel more comfortable, you want to basically get across once you use the device?
Right.
Or or during the use of the device, what kind of mindfulness technique specifically do you think are appropriate to get more out of the device? In other words, to get more into a meditative state, to get more into a relaxed state?
Well, the first thing that you want to do as you're doing this is realize that when you focus and bring your attention to a stimulus, you are changing the way you are receiving that stimulus, and you're also changing the way you're responding to that stimulus. So if you're just moving this around and you're thinking and planning and your mind's going off somewhere else, that is not going to be the same as using this and bringing your attention to where you're being touched in your body and bringing your attention into the present moment. So there's a couple aspects of mindfulness. One is that we, unfortunately, the way that we live our lives is very much in the future or past, and we're very rarely concentrated in the present moment. So what we want to do is bring ourselves to if we feel what we're experiencing, the actual touch of the instrument to your temple, then that brings you to the present moment. It also, in time and space, now we want to concentrate our attention into our own bodies instead of being scattered out and worrying about what's happening tomorrow, what happened yesterday. As we bring ourselves into the present moment, that's actually the most relaxed space. That's the center of the storm. And it's the still place that we can come to. So as we are feeling this and moving around, and again, not having to strain our body to move this, then we can direct our attention to where we're being contacted by this, by the forks here, by the stimulators. And as we feel that and open to those feelings, that's what creates the relaxation response. So it's the natural tendency of the body to go away from the moment that we want to understand and choose to bring our body and our mind together in the present moment with the present sensations. And that is, in fact, what creates the relaxation response. So as we're in a relaxation response, we're not releasing any more stress hormones. The stress hormones in circulation will be used up and the body will settle down. The muscles also relax, so the stimulation of the muscles will settle down. And actually the activity of the brain changes. So we know that deep stress relaxation, one of the kind of amazing studies that shows that when you do practice this, the brain is always growing. The brain is like every other part of the body, it's always growing. And it's going to grow in the direction that we use it. So if we're using it in stress state, it's going to grow towards that stress state. If we're using it to relax, we're actually going to make the parts of the brain that create the relaxation stronger. And those parts of the brain have been shown through very scientific brain scans and studies to actually strengthen the parts of the brain that have to do with executive function. It helps the immune system, and it also repairs something called telomeres, which are the end of the chromosomes, which as they tear apart, as they age, it's what causes cells to die off. And what they found is that as we create this relaxation response, that any of the areas that have been damaged or actually can restore themselves. So we're restoring ourselves on multiple levels at the same time, neurologically, physiologically, and even down to the chromosome level. I do know that what they're finding out is that the sensors in the nose literally go right to the brain. Okay? And so one of the most powerful ways to stimulate memory is the smell. You know, this is Christmas time that we're recording this, and the smell of the Christmas tree and the things baking in the oven, in the kitchen, and things like that are very powerful stimulators to a state of mind and body. And so as you're doing this, you're getting the physical stimulation of touch, but you're also getting that smell that is relaxing and opening and goes directly to the brain. There's no filter there.
So maybe the stimulation of the device on the musculature can actually allow the brain to be a little more receptive to the aromatherapy?
Yeah, and there's 2 points here that I think are important. One is that as you're practicing this, you're creating those memories. So the aroma itself is going to be something, as soon as you start to smell that aroma, your brain knows, oh, this is my time to relax.
This means I'm getting stimulated and to
yes,
relax.
Exactly. So the more you use this, the more you're building those memories and those triggers. The aroma itself, as you're practicing and you're using this over and over again, you're actually building the pathway to relax. And so this is just the smell of this, the aroma, will automatically, even before you actually have physical contact, you will also be stimulating that this is a time to settle down, this is my time to relax, this is my time to take care of myself, to nurture myself, to be kind to myself, and to create a healthy state for myself. And then that permeates out to everybody around you. As you're taking care of yourself, you're going to be naturally kinder to other people, you're going to be more connected to your families. This is not just something you do for yourself, but this is very altruistic. So this is the aromatherapy pad located right in the center there. And as you're putting on, I can already smell, and I didn't even put anything on there, but just from the past, the nice lavender smell that already relaxes me as I'm talking. It's very nice. Start a practice session. What I would recommend is to take a moment to kind of take a survey, tune into how you're feeling, so you can feel as if you had scientific instruments attached to you. You can feel how stressed out you are. What does your body feel like? What is your heart rate, your blood pressure? Is your mind agitated? Is it peaceful? So you start to acknowledge, and the core of mindfulness is non-judgmental awareness. So it's not trying to be relaxed. It's being honest. Start off by being honest and objective to how you are. And by being kind to yourself and practicing that kindness to allow yourself to be human. That you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to have it just right. That you can. The expression is you start where you are. Okay, and so as you start to bring this to your head and to place it in position, you start to tune in. And one of the first things you might tune into is starting to breathe through your nose, which does a couple things automatically. It brings you connected to your breathing, and breathing is the core of all meditation practice, the awareness of breathing. We know conceptually we're breathing, but to actually feel the breathing. And so as you start to breathe through your nose, you not only are connected and feeling your breathing, you're also connected to the aroma that's coming in. So you can tune into the feeling, and then you bring your attention to where you're being touched. And just let yourself feel those sensations. So you're breathing with awareness. You're using your ability to feel sensations through your body with awareness. And just following your breathing in the sense of touch. Noticing what happens inside. You might notice your breathing slowing down a bit. Notice your muscles relaxing, your face, your temple, as you're practicing, as the mind goes off into a thought, a plan, a memory, that's okay. Just as you notice it, bringing your attention back. The mission here is just to be present and feel, and to stay attuned. Remembering that there's always the aroma, the smell. Feel the air coming in with the sense of the aromatherapy. Just allow yourself to continue to be present in practice and walking yourself down into a more pleasant, peaceful, settled place. And if there's any strong emotions, any feelings that are there because of the experience of the day, just allow them to be there. And just allow yourself to hold them lightly, with kindness, with peace, and allow to settle. Continue to practice as long as you wish, whether that 15 minutes, 20 minutes, a half hour, 45 minutes, whatever it takes. So at the end point, that you realize that you've achieved some settling, you've acknowledged that, and you've witnessed it, and you allow yourself to let in what you've experienced during the practice session. And then go about your day. You can continue to breathe, be aware of the breathing, maybe even remember the sense of smell, and stay connected to the moment.
For as long as possible.
As long as possible. That just should be the place you live at the moment. Any sports, any athlete, any person who achieves anything in life has a very powerful ability to stay in the present moment.